Welcome back to PCOS Unfiltered. Nourish, heal, thrive. The podcast where we cut through the noise and get real about healing from the inside out. I'm your host, Lindsie, and today's episode is extra special because I get to bring a very personal guest to the show, my sister-in-law, Amanda. She and my brother have been homesteading for years, creating a lifestyle that's all about self-sufficiency, health, and sustainability. Today, we'll dive into how this all started, what her daily homesteading life looks like now, and the ways this lifestyle has improved her family's health. Plus, we'll explore how you can start homesteading on a smaller scale, even if you live in a city, and how these practices can positively impact your hormones and PCOS symptoms. Now, as always, the content shared on PCOS Unfiltered is for informational and educational purposes only. The views and opinions expressed by the host and guests are not intended to serve as medical advice. Always consult with a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your diet, exercise, or treatment plan. The information shared is based on personal experience and expert interviews and is not a substitute for professional medical guidance. So grab a cup of tea, get comfy, and let's jump into this fascinating conversation about homesteading, health, and holistic living. Hello, and welcome. Super thankful to have my sister-in-law here, Amanda. So we're going to talk about homesteading today, and I'm super excited for this because I've seen my brother and her journey as well as their, just their family with the two little ones. And it's been amazing to watch, and I think it's definitely something that needs to be talked about. So let's just kind of get started.
Right.
Yeah, if you want to tell us, where did it start? Was there a specific moment or event that really inspired you guys to begin this journey?
Yeah, for sure. So, just like everybody else, we were living in the city and on a third floor apartment balcony, we decided to start growing a few plants. So you actually can grow carrots in a pot, tomatoes too. And it started there, we just wanted to eat real good, nourishing food. And ultimately, when we started, we didn't know so much about nourishing and vitamins in food as just food that tastes good. So
Yeah.
we realized that food that you grow yourself tastes way better than anything you can find in the store. And we decided to move north from Indianapolis, where we were and where we met, to Michigan. And we've got our 15-acre wooded homestead. We call it the 15-acre wood here. And it's just a beautiful day. We love being outside, getting our hands dirty in the garden soil, and planting as much of our own food as we can.
Yeah. As I see a cat in the background, I'm sure we'll hear some goats at some
Yep.
point.
Come here, kitty. All right. This is named after one of our very unique potatoes.
Aw. Yeah, I mean, and I think you've mentioned before too, like you kind of saw just even like with your family a little bit and just some health things that kind of, woke you up to where
For sure.
things could have been headed.
I think a lot of
So,
people make a jump into homesteading, or at least, homesteading type of activities. Even if you don't go buy a homestead, you can do a lot where you are after a health scare. And that's not
mhm.
really what happened with us. With us, it was more we just wanted higher quality of living. And naturally, the best way to have that is to create it yourself. But, things like PCOS or, even other health problems, like we have diabetes in my family,
Yeah,
a lot of things can be either remedied or at least, give you a lot better quality of life and be a lot more under control with a healthier lifestyle.
for sure. Um, and going back to what you said about the carrots and the stuff tasting better, I'm like, I can attest to that because I've had some of those carrots and oh my gosh, they're totally different than what's in the store. So,
Oh, yeah.
um,
You don't have to peel them or
yeah,
anything. They're just so sweet all the way through to the skin. But that's because we harvest them fresh, and eating fresh is so different than eating the food that's been just sitting on store shelves for who knows how
yeah,
long.
exactly. Yeah. So, what were some of the initial challenges that you guys faced when you first started homesteading? And yeah, how did you kind of get through those?
Well, I'm not sure which one to pick, but both of us grew up like in suburban environments. So we had no experience with animals or homesteading or building things. So it was a lot of reading books and then doing it ourselves, making mistakes, doing it over. So we first built a chicken coop, was one of our first big homesteading projects. And it was just big enough for like 6 chickens, which is how many we thought we would need. Turns out we need 35 chickens. Chicken coop.
Oh my gosh.
It can be tricky when you make something and in your mind you think it's going to be perfect. And then in reality, it's a little bit of a different story. So it's really nice to be able to talk to someone like us who have done it before and can kind of help pinpoint some of those blunders and areas where you might make a mistake. But also, the mistakes are part of the learning process. And if we hadn't made the mistakes and tried it, then we wouldn't be where we are today on this beautiful property,
Yeah.
life we love.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and that applies to so many things, right? Like whether it's, personal, professional, like whatever it is, there's
Oh,
mistakes that are going to be made, there's going to be setbacks along the way. Um, but all you can do is really learn from those and then keep moving forward. So how has homesteading evolved over this, for you, obviously, particularly over the years? And what do you do now that you didn't do when you started, or maybe even was there something that you didn't think you'd be doing now?
great question. So, here at Hart's Pasture Farm, we have a small herd of dairy goats that I'm milking twice a day. And that's a perfect example right there. I thought we were going to have 2 goats and that was it. Um, and 2 goats gives you a nice amount of milk. But right now I'm milking 7 does, and that gives us a perfect amount to meet all of our own dairy needs. So fresh raw milk, ice cream, we make our own butter, we can make yogurt, kefir, of course, milk to drink, milk, in our own homemade healthy cereal. So any way you want it. And then we have enough to share as well with other people in our community who are looking for a healthier option than what's available in the stores.
Yeah. And I know the butter is something new.
And I'm so excited to make butter. Um, just like with anything else, we go in the store and there's something that we're buying at the store every week and we're just not happy with the quality or the price or both. So the price of butter keeps going up. The quality is not going up with the price. It's, staying the
Yeah.
same. We were buying the grass-fed butter that you can get in at pretty much any store. And we looked at each other one day and we said, well, we could get a cow or we could get a cream separator. So it's this basically an awesome like centrifuge, and it spins the milk and it just goes right on our countertop. And then we have cream and skimmed milk, which we can either use or feed to our animals, which then, gets turned into meat or eggs for us. So everything we do here is really kind of a circle of life, very symbiotic. And that's something that we think about every time we add something new to the farm. How does this fit in? With the goats, we have all of their manure. Well, then we need a field to plant something to use the manure, as compost to help the garden grow. So we grow now a 1/4 acre of potatoes. And then when we have extra potatoes, then those can go to the hogs. And then we butcher the hogs each fall. So everything here works together, and it kind of has to, or it wouldn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. I laugh because every time I come to visit you guys and then go back home, like nothing gets wasted there. It's either going in the compost or getting fed to one of the animals. And then I come home and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm wasting all of this stuff. I mean, the skins of, the avocado, the pits from the avocado, for example, or those tops that we cut off the berries, and I'm like, those
Yeah.
just go in the garbage when with you, it's literally just going right back into, like you said, it's a circle of life. It's amazing. So, how has homesteading improved your family's overall health and well-being?
Oh gosh. Well, we started eating this way probably close to a decade ago. And our health has only improved since then, as far as from having really wonderful regular digestion, clearer skin, better just clarity of mind. All kinds of things come with living closer to nature, getting that sunlight on my eyes first thing in the morning. My husband's out feeding the hogs and I'm milking the goats, and we just see that natural sunlight that gets our circadian rhythm where it needs to be. And then when we nourish ourselves, we're eating all of the food from our own farm, made by our own hands. We're cooking our eggs in our lard that we've made from our own hogs that we've butchered. And it really shows in the health that we have and in the health of our kids. So when we decided to, should I keep talking?
No, I'm going to go back to that question because I can edit this.
Okay.
So that's not a problem. I don't know how far you got. I don't know if that was, honestly, it almost kind of seemed like it might have been me and not you, but like nothing came up on my screen. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, that's recording, and then you went away, but it still said recording, so I just kept talking.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering if it was me, which was weird though. Okay, so I'm going to ask you that same question again, and then I'll just go back and edit this. Oh, now you're frozen again.
Okay, and now you're frozen. So, I
That's
see me
weird.
frozen.
Yeah, and I see you, but you're frozen. Turn off your video for a second. Can you
Okay.
do that? And then try turning it back on because sometimes that helps. There we go. Am I moving now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Take two. How has homesteading improved your family's overall health and well-being?
Oh gosh. Well, we probably started living this way about close to a decade ago. And about 6 years ago, we were able to conceive naturally and have absolutely no problems. I don't want to say breeze through the pregnancy, but nothing major came up. We were eating really focused on natural whole foods, a lot of it which we had grown or raised ourselves, and anything that was nutrient dense, staying away from anything that was processed, no refined sugars or any chemical additives of any type. So I had what I was told was a quick 8-hour labor at home, and then had a healthy baby girl. A couple years later, had an even faster 6-hour labor at home. Recovered really well. Never had any thinning of hair or strange kind of side effects of pregnancy or giving birth, which happens, I think, because our bodies get so stressed by it and they don't have as much enough support. So taking this whole foods approach and then taking it to the next level and trying to grow some of our own really helps the body just to heal and recover from something like giving birth.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I talk about this with my clients, and I've done an episode on this as well. And it's the mindset of even just adding in and not even removing, because when you're adding in, you're supporting your body, you're nourishing your body. And that's really truly what the body needs. So whether it is just a health journey or pregnancy or whatever, yeah, when you're really truly giving your body those nutrients that it needs to support that journey, you're going to be better off for sure.
Oh, for sure. And our bodies have so much wisdom when you give them, like you said, even if you're just adding things in instead of taking away, then our body says, "Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's what I need."
Yeah, it does. And it keeps asking for more of that then as opposed to the other stuff. What changes have you noticed in your own health since beginning this lifestyle?
Well, I don't want to get into too much detail, but definitely I've become regular, and that comes with especially eating cultured food. So think pickles, or I make my own sourdough. I have a friend who had to take medicine every day to keep her regular, and all she changed was sourdough. She made real easy sourdough recipes that I gave her and didn't do anything else different, didn't remove anything, other than swap regular store bread for sourdough bread. So having those healthy cultures for your gut is so important. And it's just something that kind of you get used to living with, and you forget what it feels like to live with true vitality. And living this way helps remind you and helps just your body experience what true health can be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a great point. I mean, I've had gut health, experts on, um, but that's a big part of it. I know I myself didn't realize that we were supposed to be as regular as I am now, but it's true. I mean, and then yes, that contributes to your overall health for sure. Are there any specific homesteading practices or habits that have had the biggest impact on your family's physical or mental health?
Definitely, I would say growing our own food. And, for physical health, we know that there are a lot more minerals and vitamins available to us in that food. It hasn't traveled thousands of miles. So many people's food is more traveled around the world than they are. Um,
It's true when you think about it that way.
and so the fact that I can just walk outside my back door and go pick potatoes, knowing that I'm nourishing myself and my family with the healthiest potato I can possibly pick. And then mental health wise, my kids love to help in the garden. So then we're all working together to pick these potatoes, to clean them, to cook them. They love to pick their favorite recipes. So getting the kids involved with the fresh food in the kitchen, I think helps us all enjoy being together, which is definitely important these days. We're off the screens, we're using our hands in the soil and in the kitchen, and we're together.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really, really good point. I mean, and then it even kind of goes back to the gut health too, because your your digestive process actually starts when you're preparing that food and, in your case, even picking it out of the garden. But that's also part of gut health too, is the preparation process. But yeah, mentally, I mean, definitely, I know the girls love to be outside and, you know, so active. And unfortunately, so many people get caught up in being inside and being on a screen and, doing all those things when you're supporting them not only with the foods, but the fresh air and the sunshine, of course, more in the spring and summer months, as much as you can in the winter. For someone who's interested in homesteading but feels overwhelmed by the idea of just diving in completely, because obviously there can be different levels to this, what would some advice be for someone to start small?
Yeah, that's a great point. We here at Hearts Pasture Farm didn't start overnight. And,
Mhm.
we didn't even have the name Hearts Pasture Farm or the infrastructure, on the website that we all built from scratch came later. So really it started, I would say, with those pots on the third floor apartment in the city. And then while we were still in the city, I took a class on how to make sourdough bread and I made my own bread. But for somebody else, it's just to find that thing. Maybe you want to make yogurt or Lindsie, I know that you make your own almond milk and it takes actually of almonds. It's so good and
Mhm.
fresh and it's so different than what you can get in that, pasteurized carton in the store. So I
Yeah.
think finding whatever that thing is for you, that homesteading skill, that little, if you want to make pickles the traditional way, check out a book about it, or even better would be to find someone who's doing it and go see the way that they're doing it on their farm first. And then that kind of helps you be able to ask questions and do some troubleshooting before you begin.
Yeah. 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 I mean, there's so many things that somebody could do. So you really kind of have to figure out, what works for you. Of course, searches, books, and yeah, like you said, definitely connecting with somebody that whether that's that they're, steps ahead of you or, have started like where you guys did and that's where they want to start, then definitely connecting with somebody like that is a great resource too. Can you share some easy and accessible practices or projects that someone could begin with to dip their toes into homesteading without feeling like they need a large piece of land? So I know you've kind of mentioned a little bit, but
Yeah, a lot of people, you really want to find what it is that lights you up. So if it is you love to eat eggs, then start with a couple chickens. Most places now are allowing at least a few hens, maybe not a rooster, depending on how close you are to the city. You don't need a lot of space. They can start eating your kitchen scraps, and then you can have the best tasting eggs you've ever had right there, out your back door. We make sure that we don't feed ours soy. We're soy free. And that's important for the estrogenic compounds that are in the soy. They can get transferred through the eggs actually to you. So, you are what you eats, is something that a famous farmer, Joel Salatin, says. So as long as you're feeding your chickens well, then you'll be able to eat their eggs well as well. And if you're not into eggs, then find what it is that lights you up and then just become the creator of that one thing. And then you're stepping out of the consumer role and you're discovering the power within yourself to change your life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. So how do you think lifestyle changes involved with homesteading can positively impact someone with PCOS, slash, hormone health? I mean, yes, PCOS can be tied to metabolic dysfunction and, hormones. So just in general, um, those lifestyle changes involved with homesteading, how could they possibly impact somebody looking to improve their hormones?
Yeah. So the nice thing about being on the homestead is that it's a lot easier to unplug. So if you're out in nature, that's such a remedy for so many things. And
Mm.
it really just settles your whole nervous system and your whole body. So if you're on a homestead and you have to take care of an animal, you usually have to get up when the sun does. So getting that sunlight, like I said earlier, with your circadian rhythm, the sunlight is the best way to get your circadian rhythm going naturally. And then that's always going to affect your hormones. So
Yeah.
you've got your natural sunlight and then your natural diet. When you come in after being outside, then you have breakfast from your own place, maybe some veggies that you grew in pots or in a little container garden that you might have before you get onto an actual homestead. Couple eggs from your chickens, or at least from hopefully a farmer that you've gotten to know. And then all of a sudden you have healthy, wholesome food that's been grown also in the sunlight, in the real dirt without any pesticides. You want to make sure that you don't have any of those chemicals because that's just going to clutter up your system even more.
Yeah. Yeah, you bring up a lot of great points there because not only are the foods that, you're growing yourself and you know where they're coming from and they're not sprayed with all the bad things, that's contributing to a decrease in inflammation and stress on the body, which is helping to balance hormones. But then, yes, also just getting sunlight first thing in the morning. Um, so whether it's, pots on your third floor, apartment that you have to water before you go to work or whatever, you're still kind of getting out there. And like you said, yes, it supports our natural circadian rhythm, which helps with our cortisol levels. There's definitely, I think there's just more and more research coming out about all of that and how that's contributing to health and healing, and the
Yep,
whole journey there.
totally.
Can you share some easy and or sorry, let me back up. Do you incorporate any specific homesteading practices that could help with balancing hormones or improving symptoms related to PCOS?
Yeah. So another thing that we do a lot on the farm is we move our bodies outside, no matter what the weather is. And so that also is giving our bodies another layer of information. And, that's you interacting with your environment, whether you're moving wood or, moving hay for the animals or weeding in the garden. So all of that is just helping. It's still a form of, farming is a form of nature therapy. And so then you're not only doing all this for your own well-being as far as nourishing yourself with the food, but then you're also doing it because you're outside every day and your stress levels are down because of that,
Yeah.
instead of sitting and watching the TV or even watching YouTube videos of other farmers doing the thing that you want to do. Those are great. We've watched those YouTube videos, but then it's important at some point to take that step and go outside and do it.
Yeah. It's a form of exercise.
And it's a exercise. We don't go and exercise because our whole lifestyle is an active one.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, and the reality for a lot of people is that we're stuck at desks all day and that type of thing. So even just the smallest little bit that you can do outside like that still contributes because as I've talked about on other episodes as well, but it's not really the exercise Like you can go exercise for an hour, but if you're sitting at home the rest of the day, sitting in front of the TV, then like, what are you doing? So this is still a way to just move your body and, coupled with getting outside and obviously eating the good foods. Um, can the foods and products that you grow or make on a homestead support the nutritional needs of someone with PCOS, trying to regulate their hormones? And how would you say?
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially full fat animal products are really helpful for hormones. So eating your eggs in the morning with egg yolk, that egg yolk has so much healthy fat in it. And then when it's grown, like I said, you're feeding your chickens a healthy whole food diet. They're outside foraging. Ours are, out here in the woods. I see a couple just walking around right now, eating bugs. And that is really going to help right there. That's so
Yeah.
different than, even if it says cage free, than the eggs that you get from the store. And they're fresh. You don't know how old those eggs are that you're getting from the store.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Any kind of minerals and nutrients, vitamin content is going to get depleted through storage, at least somewhat. So when you're eating it fresh, you don't even know what you're missing until you try it, honestly. When you eat that egg that is still warm, because it was just laid, or you eat those berries and then you just pop them in your mouth. Not only are they tastier, but they have more vitamins and nutrients available to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can attest to all of that from being there with you guys. Um, and also, I mean, this is my 90-day program. I mean, this is uh kind of going back to our roots. Like if you think about, I mean, I know we've had the conversation a little bit before too, but if we think about our ancestors and what they used to have to do to get food and sustain life and how much healthier they were. So like even with my 90-day program, I kind of, yes, it's around foods that you find in a store, but it's kind of the same concept of, even of what you guys are um, doing, on the homestead and on the farm right now. So,
Yeah, and I think that's great because some people need that extra motivation. That challenge of the 90 days is so helpful. And then there's kind of that end point, like, okay, I can do it for at least 90 days. And then so many of them, I'm sure, feel those health benefits and want to just stick with
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's about simplifying it because it's like, when did all of this stuff get so complicated? When did these foods that are supposed to nourish us contain all of these things
Yeah,
that don't support us, and just like moving our body, everything kind of needs to go back to the basics really, because that's truly a time when we were a lot healthier.
I totally agree.
Um, Last question. What products or services do you guys offer, and how can someone find you or contact you if they want to either just learn more about what you do, maybe have a session with you, like a consultation, or find out about how to purchase some of your products?
Yeah, thank you. So our website, we're Hearts Pasture Farm, and you can find us at mytasteofplace.com. It's my MI, like for the state of Michigan, MI tasteofplace.com. And we offer the most delicious potatoes that you'll ever eat in our potato CSA boxes. So it's kind of like a farm CSA, community supported agriculture, meets a subscription box. So they can be mailed to you every month for 4 months, starting in September. So next month, you'll have them in time for the holidays. And they're very unique varieties. We have 30 varieties in the field, and you'll get recipes. There's a member only page that you get information about the potatoes, recipes, including my somewhat famous potato salad. And it's just a really great way to start connecting with your food. When you open the box, it smells like potatoes freshly dug from the earth, because that's what it is. We dig them fresh. We don't store them. So in November and in December, we will be out there harvesting potatoes for you and then mailing them the next day. So if that's
Yeah.
something you're interested in, otherwise, if you really want to learn a homesteading skill, we both actually have over 2 decades as teachers combined under our belts. So we love, hello, kitty. We love teaching people these skills that are so near and dear to us. So we have a variety of homesteading consultation options on our website too. And we're happy to just do the 15-minute, free consult to see if we have something that you're interested in, or even if you just want to ask us a question. And then if you want to dig a little bit deeper, then we have some really cool options on the website that we love to share with people.
Yeah, awesome. And I'll, of course, link all of that in the show notes as well.
Thank you.
And if you are local in the Michigan area, specifically like Petoskey area, I know you guys are at some farmers markets for the next, what is that, like 2 months, I guess, ish, maybe?
We're in the Petoskey Farmers Market and Harbor Springs Farmers Market. That's Friday or Saturday morning. If you're up here, stop by Hart's Pasture Farm and give us a shout, say hi, and pick up some potatoes while you're here.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing all of this today and for joining me. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Lindsie.
Wow, what an inspiring conversation. Huge thanks to my sister-in-law, Amanda, for sharing her years of experience and insights into homesteading. From starting small to building a lifestyle that nourishes the whole family, her tips show that anyone can take steps toward a healthier, more self-sufficient life. If you'd like to learn more, connect with Amanda, or join their Potato CSA, I will link everything in the show notes for you. If you're thinking about starting your own homesteading journey, or even just bringing a few elements into your daily life, there's no better time to begin than now. And remember, the habits we cultivate at home can ripple out to impact our health, our families, and even conditions like PCOS in ways we may not always expect. Thank you for listening, and if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with anyone who could use a little homesteading inspiration in their life. Until next time, keep nourishing your body, healing from the inside out, and thriving.